4Kids Entertainment, formerly known as Leisure Concepts, Inc., was an American licensing company. The company was previously also a film and television production company that produced English dubs of Japanese anime through its subsidiary 4Kids Production between 1992 to 2012. It specialized in the acquisition, production, and licensing of children's entertainment around the United States and also some other parts of the world. The first anime that 4Kids Productions dubbed was the first 8 seasons of Pokemon. The company was also well known for its range of television licenses, which included the multi-billion-dollar Pokemon and Yugioh, Japanese anime franchises. Chapter 1. Company Origins. Leisure Concepts was co-founded on April 28, 1970 by Mike Jermekian, who would later be known as one of the creators of Thundercats, and Stan Weston, an American licensing agent and inventor best known for creating the G.I. Joe, which would become the very first action figure. In the beginning, the company pitched toy and cartoon ideas to various companies. The company also had a growing number of deals and television producers and toy manufacturers. In July 1987, Alfred Kahn was credited for bringing over the Cabbage Patch Kid to the mainstream and joined the company as vice chairman and a member of the board of directors. On December 17, 1987, Leisure Concepts Incorporated signed a licensing deal with Nintendo of America Incorporated to market software productions that went along with its increasingly popular gaming system. Nintendo already introduced Legend of Zelda for home video game systems, a software production that went on to sell more than 1 million copies during the year. Sometime in 1986, the company also signed a licensing deal to market Star Wars. Chapter 2. 4Kids Productions. The company did $6 million in sales in 1989 and employed about 14 people by 1990. On March 12, 1991, Leisure Concepts Incorporated appointed Alfred Kahn as chairman and CEO. In 1992, 2 subsidiaries were established by the company, the Summit Media Group Incorporated and 4Kids Productions. Now, let's talk about licensing. 4Kids didn't actually create shows like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! From scratch. Instead, they acted like scouts. They would look over at Japan to find high-performing IPs, which is just another fancy way of saying shows that were already getting massive ratings and selling tons of toys. Once they found a winner, they would sign a license deal. This is a legal contract that allows 4Kids to acquire the rights to shows. This meant they could put the 4Kids name on it and broadcast it in the West. But there's a catch. 4Kids didn't own the show forever. It's more like a business partnership. The contract gave them access to the property, but in return, they had to split the money. For every dollar 4Kids made selling trading cards or action figures, they would have to give a percentage of that to themselves, and then a percentage back to the original creators in Japan. As long as everyone followed the contract and money was split correctly, the deal stayed active. But if 4Kids stopped paying that percentage or hid some of the money, the owners in Japan would cancel the license and take the show back. In the context of 4Kids, localization was a process of taking Japanese anime and altering it to fit cultural, legal, commercial standards of the Western market, specifically for American Saturday morning television. Because 4Kids operated primarily on broadcast networks like Fox and the Kids WB, they had to follow strict broadcast standards and practices. Their goal was to make the product that was foreign feel more like a local one to maximize the ratings and toy sales. The company changed its name from Leisure Concepts Incorporated to 4Kids Entertainment on November 16, 1995. And by 1999, 4Kids Entertainment had employed 50 people. Chapter 3. Poke Mania. By the year 2000, 4Kids Entertainment was the undisputed kings of the playground. Thanks to the massive success of Pokemon, the company hit the number 1 spot on the Fortune's list of top 100 fastest growing companies, and they were just a business. They weren't just a business, they were a juggernaut. To keep the momentum going, they secured rights to Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters in 2001, effectively catching lightning in a bottle for the second time. Their influence grew so large that they even brought a 3% stake in the Pokemon company itself. By 2002, Pokemon alone was pumping $140 million of revenue into their accounts. With pockets full of cash, 4Kids Entertainment made their biggest move yet on January 2002. By winning an intense bidding war, they signed a massive $100 million deal with the Fox Broadcasting Company. This gave them total control over Fox's Saturday morning lineup. They weren't just providing shows anymore. They were the landlords of the airwaves, responsible for every second of content and pocketing every cent of advertising revenue. To maximize these profits, they launched their own home video division that same May. On September 14, 2002, their new empire had officially premiered as the Fox Box, which would later be rebranded as 4Kids TV in 2005. Chapter 4: Financial Failings. The crack in the empire began to show in October 2005 when 4Kids sold their stake in the Pokemon Company for just $960,000. A sign that they were beginning to pull back from their biggest gold mine. Trying to evolve, they launched a new subsidiary in 2006 called 4Site Licensing Solutions. CEO Al Khan signaled a shift in strategy. They wanted to create more faithful dubs that kept the original Japanese soundtracks and stories. They even produced 9 uncut episodes of Yugioh and had planned to do the same for One Piece. By the end of 2006, the company tried to diversify even further, and they formed TC Digital Games and TC Digital Websites to launch the Chaotic trading card game. While 4Kids was restructuring its anime empire, a new opportunity emerged that would become the company's final major play, Chaotic. The story of this franchise didn't start in a boardroom, but with a visionary named Brian Gannon. Gannon had acquired the property originally known as Chaotic Now or Never, and saw a future where trading card games and the internet lived in total sync. His vision was ahead of its time, a per-card unique coding system where every physical card you brought could be uploaded and played in a digital world. Gannon first took his pitch to Updeck, the heavyweights of the trading card world. However, the deal didn't materialize. Undeterred, he brought the pitch to 4Kids Entertainment. He managed to convince Al Khan and the executives team that Chaotic wasn't just another card game, and it was a multi-platform ecosystem that could rival Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! 4Kids was sold on the idea, and in December 2006, they officially announced the formation of 2 dedicated subsidiaries to bring the vision to life. TC Digital Games LLC, the card producers, and TC Websites LLC, the online platform creators. The launch was ambitious. The animated series produced by 4Kids was to drive interest in the lore, the technology. Each card featured a unique alphanumeric code that was a first for the industry at that scale. The integration, 4Kids used its 4Kids TV and later the CW 4Kids blocks to market the game directly to its core demographic. For a brief window, the gamble seemed to pay off. Chaotic became a genuine contender in the TCG market, building a dedicated fan base and proving that 4Kids could build a brand from the ground up rather than just a licensing Japanese hits. However, the high cost of maintaining the server's infrastructure and the specialized printing technology combined with the looming 2008 financial crisis meant that Chaotic's success was built on a fragile foundation. Al Khan called it a significant enhancement of strategy, but the venture struggled to find its footing, and by 2010 both subsidiaries were shut down because they simply weren't making money. The final blow to their TV dominance came in November 2008. Struggling under the weight of the global financial crisis, 4Kids announced that they were exiting their contract with Fox and laying off about 15% of their workforce. On December 27, 2008, 4Kids aired for the last time. The rights of Chaotic trading card game defaulted back to Brian C. Gannon following the dissolution of 4Kids Entertainment, later known as 4 Licensing Corporation. And in the aftermath of the 4Kids collapse, the world of Param didn't vanish, but it simply went away for the long, quiet stasis, waiting for the right moment to port back into reality. Through Chaotic USA Entertainment Group Incorporated, he reclaimed the primary ownership of the IP, ensuring the heart of the game remained with its original visionary. Gannon knew he couldn't rebuild a world alone, and he forged powerful partnerships with Epic Story Media, appointing them as the brand's new licensing manager. Together, they began drafting the blueprints for the grand revival. Reports suggest that Gannon has secured a partnership with a heavyweight TCG company aiming for a full relaunch in 2026. For the first time in over a decade, it looks like fans are finally getting ready to port back to Param again. By the early 2010s, 4Kids Entertainment was no longer the powerhouse that it once was. For years, 4Kids had dominated Saturday mornings, bringing anime and international properties to the Western audiences, reshaping them for television, toys, mass appeal. Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, One Piece, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles weren't just shows, they were brands. But behind the scenes, their business was beginning to crack. License disputes became more frequent, contracts were challenged, partnerships fell apart. The company found itself entangled in lawsuits that questioned how properties were handled, licensing. That lawsuit would become the beginning of the end. In 2011, a jury ruled against 4Kids, ordering them to pay tens of millions of dollars in damages, and ruling didn't just hurt them financially, it shattered trust, strained relationships, and destabilized the company's future. Soon after, 4Kids filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and at that point, the company that once localized the biggest anime franchises in the world was fighting to simply survive. Assets were sold off, rights to major properties were lost or transferred, entire divisions were shut down, employees were laid off, the iconic 4Kids brand slowly faded from television. And in 2012, the remaining assets of 4Kids were acquired by Konami's US subsidiary. The company was rebranded to 4K Media, marking the official end of 4Kids Entertainment as fans knew it. There was no farewell broadcast, no final logo sting, no closing messages to audiences that grew up with it, just lights going out. And that's the strange thing about 4Kids. For all the controversy, for all the edits, the censorship, the jokes fans still make today, 4Kids shaped the entire generation's first exposure to anime and international storytelling. Without 4Kids, many of these series would never have reached Western audiences at all. It was flawed, it was corporate, and it was often frustrating, but it was also influential. 4Kids didn't fall because people stopped watching. It fell because business decisions, legal battles, and changing media landscapes finally caught up with it. And when it went down, it took the entire era of television with it. So, whether you love 4Kids or hated it, or love it to hate it, its impact is undeniable, and its legacy still debated, still remembered, still talked about, even today. Thank you guys for watching my video. This really meant a lot to me, as 4Kids was a huge part of my life, and I've been wanting to make this video for a while. So thank you if you stuck around to the end. Hope you guys could take the time to leave a comment or like or share if you want. And if you really want to subscribe, that would mean the world to me. I really love these videos, and I love making this kind of content, so I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoy making it. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.